Hello, and welcome to our live event, Changing the Story Over 40. I'm your host, Angelique. I'm an ER physician at Providence St. Joseph Emergency Department, and I'm joined by professional MMA fighter, mom, and businesswoman, Kat Zingano. As a reminder, the information provided during this event is for information purposes only. If you have any medical questions, please reach out to your primary care or healthcare professional. Hi, Kat. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thanks for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I just turned 40 years old in July. I am currently ranked number one. There's a champion, and then there's me at 145 pounds. I'll be fighting for the title coming up this year. In the last 10 years, last 15 years, I've been ranked top 5 in the world in mixed martial arts for women. I have done wrestling my whole life since I was 12 years old. The majority of the beginning of that was me versus boys because there wasn't girls teams. And constantly just been trying to see what I can do and have a lot of interest and just real things like challenging myself, challenging others, gauging where I'm at. And I'm a mom of a teenage boy. He's my pride and joy. And honestly, the drive for me to be out there doing everything that I am. And, I'm really interested in making the world an understanding place and having people connect and, also have us all figure out what we're fighting for.
Well, wonderful. And happy belated birthday, Kat. So physically and mentally, how are you feeling turning 40?
I was told I feel forever that, when you're 40, you're going to slow down. Everything is different. And, I turned 40 and I'm still waiting for that feeling. I remember turning 30 and emotionally feeling like, man, I'm old. And so I already had that birthday, the one that I'm like, man, I'm old. But then every year after that, I continued to still feel good and continue to still improve and still be good, if not one of the best at everything that I tried to do. And it makes me laugh sometimes only because it's like, what happened to what I got told? What happened to all of these things I was told to expect and they didn't happen? I'm, like I said, I'm supposed to fight for the world title within the next few months. And, that's at 40, that's still running around and working my butt off and hitting up 2 practices a day and, just doing the natural professional athlete diet and nutrition and water and all that. So, I feel good and I feel balanced and I feel smarter than I've ever been. And it works out.
That's great. I know even at 52, I still feel like the 21-year-old girl. I still feel like me. I remember my 80-year-old grandmother saying that to me. I still feel like the same girl that was young.
Yeah. Well, and what's interesting too is that we are living to 80, we are living to 90, we are living to 100. And how are you supposed to accept at 40, which is not even half of your life, that now you're old, now you're on the way down, that was the top of the hill and it's over? Like, how are you supposed to accept that before things are even halfway done, that was it, this is the best you're going to feel, that's the most you're going to do? I just refuse to agree to that. And I think a lot of people should refuse to agree to that. Just like a lot of things are stigmatized, I do think this is something that gets stigmatized because some people do feel that way, and they kind of let it trickle down to the thought of, well, we all need to feel that way to make it okay that you aren't doing things that you could be doing or want to be doing or were once doing. And that really only gets in our own way.
So to preserve your health, having turned 40, have you seen your primary care doctor since your birthday?
Of course. I mean, I've always been someone that I just want to go to the doctor. I want to get ahead of things. Like, if anything's wrong with me, if anything's wrong with my kid, it doesn't hurt to go. I understand insurance can be tricky and whatever, but there's no reason to not go in and then have your problems be bigger if you would have gotten them addressed in the first place, and I feel like a lot of people that are sick, or a lot of people that, didn't follow the signs and symptoms of something when it first arrived, they always have that moment where they either wish they would have gone in earlier, they wish they would have listened, or they wish they would have checked. And it's okay to have things happen to you and for you to feel, man, I failed at bringing myself to this. But the real thing is the regret, and having people regret that they didn't do things at different times. I know I've suffered some losses in my life that there's, feelings of, man, I wish I would have been able to do this differently, or I wish I would have looked at this more seriously, or I wish I would have considered options of this and that. And it's that regret that gets to you. And I think, the best way to avoid regret is to act and to do the thing maybe that you're even scared of. And putting your health first, and putting your mind at ease by at least finding out that something isn't wrong, and those are big things that I think at any age of your life are important to address.
I think that's great advice, because prevention is always easier to address than treating a disease. Mm-hmm. So while we're on the subject, I do want to just give my recommendation that once women turn 40, that's when you should start scheduling your annual mammogram. That's an American Cancer Society recommendation. But also, that is when you want to start evaluating your cardiovascular health and your heart, and checking your cholesterol, getting your blood pressure checked. They call elevated blood pressure the silent killer, because you don't feel anything. And just a general cardiac evaluation. And that's done by your primary care doctor. So I highly recommend doing those key things. And that will help prevent disease rather than have to react and treat a disease once it's already established.
Mm. Yeah.
So, question for you, as a top performing athlete, do you feel you're at the top of your game physically?
I really do. And I think, one of the things that makes me feel that way, some of the evidence that I have, is that I've trained in so many different ways with so many different coaches and so many different volumes throughout my life that, something that I've gotten to learn through all of that is my perfect recipe. And there was a time in my career where it was basically treating myself like a Ferrari and running it into the wall as fast as I could. And, getting up, dusting myself off and doing it again and again. And to me and the coaches I had at the time, that was about being tough, and be tough, make sure that your body is conditioned to take damage, make sure your head is conditioned to take damage, make sure, all of these things are just about, how brutal you can be to yourself and how you get up afterwards. And, I after a few years of being in there like that, and you realize, wait, I don't have to do that to be tough. Like the fact that I'm actually learning, and then I can avoid these things by being fast, or by being smart, or by, baiting people into doing things, or moving around in different directions, like how to do the diet without, or these weight cuts. Like all of us fighters have had to drop a very large amount of weight in pretty short amounts of time. And there's even ways to do that that's healthier than others, where in the beginning it was just don't eat. You can eat on Saturdays or something, which is just, there's no longevity to that. Those are short careers, and those hurt your body, and they hurt your endocrine system, and they hurt your mind, and they get you tired, like emotionally and mentally. It's exhausting to be hungry all the time. It's exhausting to always be having to heal. It's exhausting to know that you're going in to just practice and you're going to walk out with injuries, and something that I learned is just taking your time and finding coaches that see the longevity and the long-term picture with you. They want to put you through the right kind of conditioning for your body that just gets you strong and fast. The same thing with, the kickboxing or the jiu-jitsu or the different disciplines, is how to do it where you're learning the most, and it's the most practical for what you're about to go be doing, and, game plan for that versus just, wreck yourself and hope you're good by the time that the actual whistle goes. And I think, that's something that everyone ends up learning in their life, is like what works and what doesn't. How do I perform the best that I can at work, or for me at my job when I'm training or fighting, is like putting together an optimal plan. How do I eat? How do I sleep? Who do I interact with? Who do I talk to when I'm frustrated? What do I do with my downtime? What do I do when I still have to go, but I'm super tired? Like just ways to manage your time and ways to manage your body and how you feel and how you interact and what you do with your energy is something that I feel like you have to learn after experience and or talking to people that know more than you and can give you those little shortcuts to feeling your best. So it's definitely been a work in progress, and I've learned a ton, and I love how much I know now, especially from the experiences that I've been through.
Well, that's all great advice. So mentally, do you feel more confident in your role as a professional athlete?
I do. I feel like I've imported so many ideas. I've learned from some of the best people in the world. I've seen what works for me. I've seen what doesn't. I've coached, I've taught, I've helped, and you start seeing patterns in the things that don't work. You start seeing patterns in the things that do work, and you keep feeding the things that end up positively. And I can game plan again in ways that I can make happen because of what I see work, and I can avoid what I don't need to because of the things that don't work. And that's information is just so valuable. And I'm sure it's similar to what goes into being a doctor, where it's like, okay, we do this procedure this many times and this person lives. We make these mistakes along the way and this person doesn't have as good of a result. So let's keep feeding towards figuring out more about this lineage and how that thing works versus the things that we're seeing results that don't work, and staying on top of that kind of thing.
Interesting. Have you noticed a difference on how professional men and women athletes are talked about in the media?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been different, especially because like I said, I started when I was 12 and I was essentially the only girl. Definitely the only girl that was as as achieving as I was with these things. And I constantly had to fight for why it was okay that I am even there. If I got hurt the same way that a boy next to me got hurt, well, I got hurt because I'm a girl, and he got hurt because you get hurt in the room. Sometimes it happens. And there was a lot of room here, like any kind of problem, any kind of issue, any kind of thing. It was always like, see, it's because girls shouldn't be here. But, meanwhile, the same kind of thing can happen to other people and it just gets looked over. One other thing I've noticed is that women get sexualized a lot more. It's something that, people want to see. You can be successful, but you also need to have something attractive. And, opinions can be attractive now. I feel like a lot of times it wasn't the same way. It was a little harder to be heard. It was, you had to, fight to show what you can achieve, and you have to earn it, which along my road, I absolutely loved doing. Like, I loved proving people wrong. I loved earning it. I loved, breaking a wall into a building where there wasn't a wall there before, or a door there before. And those are big challenges to me that I loved to do, but were not necessarily always fair to have to do. I'd say since I started fighting, I had my son, and I started fighting, I think, a year later. And, people would question me throughout, or say things throughout, question me, can you do a good job at being a mom if you're a fighter? And can you do a good job as being a fighter if you're a mom? And they don't ask men that, they don't question them as a parent if they're out there doing this job. I'd say since I turned 30, everyone's asked me, how many more years are you going to do this? 31. How many more years are you going to do this? 32. How many years are you going to do this? Meanwhile, I'm still winning. So it constantly was little specks of doubt that would always get put into my head as to what's missing with me. What am I not doing? That is something that women should be doing right now. But because I'm over here achieving something else, I must be lacking somewhere else in my life that are more of these feminine qualities where I handled it all. You know, I think someone asked me at one point, like, what would you do if the manual was told you to get in the kitchen? It's like, I am in the kitchen, and I do go fight, and I do all the laundry, and I take care of the kid, and I show up to all the things I need to, and I'm nice to people, and I don't question people's intents or integrity, you know? And so to me, it's a gift to be able to have the resources and have the skills and have everything that I have to be able to push those boundaries and to draw outside the lines. But I definitely see it's something that is a difference, and it is changing. You know, the more strong women are out there being able to do it, and then other women follow, and everyone's getting their voice and everyone's getting their space. Like it's a great, beautiful thing. It's still quite a challenge, you know, but it's happening, and I really think it's great. How about you? Do you have that experience?
I love what you're doing, and I am proud of you, and thank you for paving the way. Yeah, it's interesting. In medicine, it was almost the opposite. You said in your field that you were often sexualized. Well, in my field, it was kind of taboo to be feminine or wear makeup or be glamorous at work. And it took me a while to realize this is me. They are not mutually exclusive. I can be glamorous and feminine and still have a really serious career and do a great job. They're not mutually exclusive. So I like to empower young women to be true to themselves, and you don't have to make changes to yourself to try to adapt to
No.
what everyone else around you is like. So that's one thing I'm very passionate about, and I think that actually makes me a better physician. I'm less daunting. I'm can be more motherly with my patients, put them at ease, and so I do encourage women to be true to themselves, and if they like to have big hair and wear makeup and be feminine, then do it. That doesn't take away from your ability to be an excellent healthcare professional and practice great medicine.
Mm-hmm. Self-expression is incredible, and if it is how you carry yourself, and it doesn't change anything about what you're capable of doing, and I absolutely agree.
So let's get on to a little game.
Okay.
We're gonna play a true false game, and give us your answers. So, should women get screened for depression? True or false?
Yes, true.
Yes, women, just like men, are at high risk for depression, suicide, high risk for suicide. So that's something that primary care doctors need to screen for as well. Even though, like you said, you're able to cook and provide and be a mom and get out there into the workforce and get everything done, it doesn't mean that you aren't vulnerable to depression as well.
Absolutely.
So number 2, women don't start menopause till they turn 50.
I'm gonna say false. I know some women that are younger than that have that are in or have gone through menopause.
That is correct. So yes, 50 is the normal age, but women start to experience symptoms perimenopause, even in their early 40s. So, and they may not believe that or know that those symptoms are associated with hormone changes. And a lot of women have health issues and don't realize that it it is related to that. So definitely something to speak to your doctor about and to be aware.
Mm.
So number 3, you should go easy on weights as you get older.
False. Okay.
Excellent.
I'm like, well, I'm at least doing it wrong if it's true.
Well, I know that you know the answer, and I want to let everyone know. Yes. So the National Osteoporosis Foundation recommends 30 minutes of weight-bearing exercise on most days of the week and muscle strengthening 2 to 3 days a week, and that is what will help you with your health. It keeps your bones strong and your body healthy.
Yeah, I see some ladies. There are some ladies in a gym that I go to for strength and conditioning. There's a woman, I think she's 80 years old, and she's out there pushing the sled with 245-pound weights on it, and she looks amazing. She's, I look at her and I can't wait to like be doing the same kinds of things and pushing myself the same way. And she's so cool. That whole group is so cool. Staying active, I think, is really important for all of us.
Yes, use it or lose it. So, true or false, gaining weight once you're 40 is inevitable.
False.
Correct. Yeah. So, it's true, your metabolism does slow a tiny bit, but it just takes a little more discipline and self control to keep yourself in shape. It's about being healthy and not the scale. But a lot of women, as they get older, just feel like, well, it's just inevitable. I'm going to gain weight or be plump, but that's not true. And here you are as proof to that you can maintain your fitness and at at any age.
Well, and I really think it comes down to body type too, and people's genetics, and what your goals are and what you want to be doing. Like my weight will fluctuate depending on things that are going on in my life, and the whether I feel like working out all the time or whether I feel like watching what I eat, and if I'm in a calorie deficit or if I'm having a lot more fun than that. So I think being gentle on ourselves and like respecting our body, and then just figuring out what we need to do as far as how we want to look along the ways, and putting that together into a plan is really what the difference is. And yeah, some people's bodies do different things, and everyone's kind of unique in that, and someone's opinion of being in shape and being out of shape could be completely different as well. So I think it's relative. I think that's very relative.
I like what you have to say about that, about being kind to your body, because I have a lot of patients that are not kind to their body, and they don't value their health until they don't have it anymore. And like we talked about before, prevention is much easier than treatment in medicine. So valuing your health and being good to your body is always the best.
Mm-hmm.
So finally, true or false? 40 is a great time to reset and look forward to 40 more.
Absolutely true. Yeah. I same thing. I feel like I said before, like I really am shocked that I was told something my whole life about how things were going to be at 40, and it's not it. I feel good, and I feel more intelligent. And the cool thing about 40 is you usually have all the crazy stuff that you were screwing up on before out of the way, and you know a bit more of what to do with money or how to save it or make it. You're more comfortable. To me, it's a very relieving feeling to be this age and to feel the way I do, especially the way that people were telling me it was going to be. It's a great time, and I feel accomplished, and I feel like there's more I can do, and yeah, I continuously want to see what else I can do. You look at people like Tom Brady or Serena Williams, or there's a few different golfer people that are older, which is debatable, harder of, or not as hard of, you know, activity, but, you know, still going out and believing in yourself and competing with whoever you want, whatever age they are, and looking for your highest good. And you end up doing it as long as you feel like doing it, versus the age that you're told you need to feel a certain age by, or a certain way by. And I know I'm impressed, and I'm looking at other people that are in their 40s, even older than me, doing great at things, and I'm like, man, I can't wait for everyone to realize that we don't have to feel that way. You know, it's individual. It's however you're treating yourself, however you set your goals, however you see. And I don't know, I feel good. I see a lot of people that feel good. A lot of my friends that are the same age as me, we talk about the same thing. So it's interesting, it's exciting, and it feels like a whole new lease on life as soon as everybody can put down the, you know, inappropriate labeling, in my opinion.
Well, it sounds like, you know, you have the wisdom that comes with age, and you obviously have had the success in your sport. So what advice would you give young girls who want to be an athlete in their career? What was the secret to your success? What advice would you give them?
I think that, you know, keeping in mind that mistakes happen, you know, and you're going to make mistakes. That's how you learn how to make less mistakes, is through learning from your mistakes. I think who you surround yourself with, and the ways that you talk to yourself, or the ways that you're being talked to. Because even if you're kidding, you know, some of the things you can say about yourself, like, I feel like your subconscious can take on. And, you know, making sure that you are around people that support what it is that you actually feel and what you actually want to do. Taking it easy on yourself, where sometimes you need help, and sometimes you need to go get help and ask for help and be vulnerable, and to, you know, admit, like, hey, you know more about this than I do. Can you please help me? Can you please tell me what's going on with me? Can you, you know, help me figure out what to do, or how to feel, or at least dissect my own thoughts. You know, I think watching your nutrition and making sure that you are, you know, there's times in your life to have fun. There's times to be wild. There's times to do stuff that aren't necessarily good for you, but to make sure you balance it out, and, like, not be too hard on yourself. Enjoy your life, you know, but be safe and be careful, and do things to protect yourself along the way. Again, you don't want to regret things. You want to, you know, you can fail at things, you can mess up, you can make mistakes, but, you know, things that you can come back from and just put behind you and move on. I think, what else?
Those are all wonderful pieces of advice for young women that are looking to be athletes like you.
Yeah.
I want to thank you, Kat, for joining us today, and to everyone for listening and sending in your questions. If you're looking for medical advice, please visit providence.org, and make sure to follow Providence on social media at Providence on Twitter and Facebook, and under Providence Health System on Instagram and LinkedIn. So thank you to everyone.